Okay, I'm back with you, and I just wanted to get started on what we were doing this month. And if you've already watched the first video where I talked about it, you'll know that we've got some fun stuff that I am going to share with you today. It's kind of going over some of the same things from last month, but I will show you a few things that I did and give you some ideas and get up close for you. So that's a picture of the Blue Symphony, or the Symphony of Blue Wreaths, the original one. And you can see that on my website and on Facebook and on YouTube. So we're going to be doing the pineapple block. And I just wanted to go over some of what I used and some of what I didn't use this time. So the pattern, I took the original pattern we had and I changed out some things on it. And I just wanted to make you aware of things on here. So when you look at the pattern, and let me get something to point here with. When you're looking at this pattern, just know that this is my embroidery drawing in these quarters, and this is an actual template that can replace those. These circles in the 13th, 16th of an inch and the 1 1/8 of an inch. And how do I know that? I know it because I told you about, excuse me, I told you about the little templates or something you can get to use for that. So that's how I did that. I drew within the circle. So these circles are going to become the larger circle is the bigger one, replacing the A and B, all of these. They're labeled, they're numbered, or have letters because they are hand drawn and they are all different. But you could certainly just pick an A, a B, and a leaf, and you could just make them all the same. You could just draw 1/2 of your wreath, flip it over, and draw all the rest that way. But that's not what I did. It is all hand drawn. And then the small circle would replace these. So we'll go to the block. And the block, let's see if it's showing right for you. I think so. Good enough. I said I'd get up real close with you and let you see some of it. But if you look at some of these little guys here, you can see they're just cut. That's the larger circle. It's cut from a beautiful fabric. Same fabric had these beautiful little circles in it. So I thought 2 different sizes, and plus it was smaller space, black space to work within. So I replaced the calyxes and the buds and put the circles. Circles are so fun. They're so happy. And they ended up giving me lots of exciting colors to add. And then there's your big S shape, your funky shape to replace the embroidery that was in the original. So I'm going to go back real quick, show you the original. And hold on one moment. Find it again. So you can probably see what I'm speaking of. And you can see the big color pictures on the website, and that'll be an easier way to see it than what I'm doing here with you. But so originally that was embroidered, and these were these cute little, I used cotton in this case. The month before, it had actual little silk ribbon that was showing. And this one needs tweaking and perking up a little bit. But they're beautiful. Little tiny pieces of silk, wired silk ribbon inserted in. The calyx is made of ultra suede. And then, let's see, get a little more light for you. So back to the pineapple, the original one. I said that I did them in cotton. All of it has been done in cotton. And embroidery, you know, was added here and there wherever I could. Add some more embroidery. The pineapple has the beads. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more for you. Crazy, huh? I love handwork. So anyway, we're not making our life, this won't take as long to make by any means, but it's still interesting enough that it's got a lot of fun stuff there for you. So what I was saying about it being hand-drawn, you may find some of the wreath is a little wider, a little thinner. You know, forgive that and draw one side of it, flip it over and make it perfect, or do it exactly like mine, kind of folk arty. And I think you're going to love it. So you can see I sewed it with a black silk thread in the top. And I had a 60 weight thread, black, in the bobbin. I used a zigzag stitch, a 1.0 width and length. And your needle up and down, if you have it, is fabulous. If not, no need to worry about that. Just you're zigging onto the background and the applique fabric, and your zag is on just the background. So I try to walk that needle. I try to walk the needle right. Let's see where I am here. Here I am. I'm almost there. I try to walk the needle right along the edge and stay right in the background with just the zag, and then on everything when I'm doing the zig part, so back and forth. That's all it is. Now, when I mentioned about the identipens, see, I'm still pretty zoomed in here, so it may be way too much for you. There's your identipen, and with the little tiny tip on one side, which is still much bigger than the Pigma pen tips. And then you've got the wide one. And I do use the wide one sometimes, but not very often. But you can go back, see if I can get somewhere where you can kind of see what I'm doing. If I skip a stitch, or there's something that I really, really, really don't love, or I want to add in some more interest, I can go back with this and I can just touch it. See, am I going to get... So I can change it. Just touch in here and give it more black if you wanted to. That's all I'm doing. And sometimes I just, you know, I'm not that, I practice as much as I can, but I need a lot more practice. So you can do some fun things, or you can draw in leaf veins and use the other color markers and all. But that's a really good one to keep on hand. So like I said, you need sharp little pointy scissors, some kind of little, these are my Elans. I'm not sure how you pronounce this. E-L-A-N. They're made in Japan. I love Karen K. Buckley and my Famore. I'm loving these because they're pink. They are micro, excuse me, micro serrated. I guess I need some more coffee. Which I prefer the scissor edge, the knife edge. Because this grabs everything, and I love that. But sometimes when I'm cutting, especially on the templates of cutting out our pattern. So let me go back. When you download your pattern from today for the month of July, it's going to download 2 pieces. And I want you to pay special attention always to your little grid here. Because I printed off from 2 different ways of making my download. One was a scan and one was a photo. My photo that I downloaded was completely the right size off of my printer. But my scanned one, when I printed it, was just probably a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch. And it does make a little bit of difference. And you can certainly enlarge it too. Some of you that have some hand or eye issues, or you just want it bigger to cover more space on those blocks, and then you don't need all the little 4 quadrants of embroidery like I did. I thought it was a lot of white space, and so that's why I ended up putting those into that. But first thing you're going to do is, of course, get them, find where they're going to match up, trim off some of that, and Scotch tape together. Get your tape and tape them together. I won't do those. I bet you know how. I've done too many of those. But back to this one that I have. This one, this little number 15, you can make yourself like a little stencil and use it to audition your fabrics that you want to maybe put for this beautiful piece here. You know, this is an all over print, but I only had a tiny bit of it, and I wanted to line it up as best I could. So having a stencil to look through really helped me do that. And I mean, I barely got through there. So no, I cannot kit from that fabric. I don't have any more of that if I were to even think about doing it. But if you cut that out into a stencil, and I won't cut that out right now. I'll show you what I'm talking about, though. If you had something, then you could look for it and find exactly where you love, love, love it. You know, just move it around. And then when you have the piece that you've taken out, your template piece, from the back side of it, I go back. The original side's going to always get the glue. I can tell on the original side usually because it still has the pencil marks on it. I did not start to cut this out very well. I did that right before I flipped this thing to record. Imagine that. Anyway, I will put something, or like if it was the number 15, as long as it's not a light pink or yellow or white fabric, you do not want these numbers to show through. So if you needed to number it or something to make you know it's the original side gets the glue. The glue. That is not a glue. That is a starch. So that's going to go down, and then where you had, you know, you look through your stencil, then you just place that. Once you got the glue, you place it right back onto it. So that is how we did that. So, I mean, go and find all these cool fabrics and find these little things and have some fun with it. So if I was doing, let's do one of these. Let's do one of the circles, okay? And I'll show you how I did it. Because, and I mean with my broderie purse, I know that you have seen me doing that, how you could take the shape of something like this, or this wonderful shape here, even something that is maybe really, really intricate, and you wanted to do all that. Well, there's no need to do all that. This would make a wonderful circle, but you can just draw from the other side onto your paper. So let's do one. First, let's do a circle. See if I've got any circles left. Yes, I do. Here they are. Fabulous circles. So I'm going to take my handy dandy stencil, figure out what circle I want, and I think I said this was the one I did. Circle. And see where I covered my little scissors up here. Yeah. Here they are. Now, I'm not doing a stencil here, but listen, if I wanted to make that into a stencil, if I want to do a stencil so I could look, maybe I have the face of a tiger or something on there and you really can't figure out how you want to do it, don't forget to make your stencils. And I just cut right in there and I follow it along like that. But right now I'm just going to try to cut a decent circle. And, you know, there's hole punch things. There's all these things that you can buy some ready-made circles too, I think, out of different products. Ones that I don't have, and I'm not going to go and do that when I can still do it this way. And your circles and your templates are going to be only as perfect as you can cut them. So if there comes a day when you can't cut them good enough that you're happy with it, then you need to find a different method. Because if your circle has a hump, then your template's going to have a hump showing that makes your circle out of the fabric have that. So I'm working right now on my Caterpillar just for the ease of it. But you want to go, I told you, you want to go to the dollar store or somewhere and get those vinyl placemats. I like to find the one, if you can, sometimes you can find them where they're white on one side and have a print on the other. And then I cut it into half so that I have something more manageable. And it's great for taking along. So I could do it this way. You might can see it better today, what I'm up to against this white that's underneath. So I cut this circle, and I would normally turn on my light box, and I would think about where do I want to place it. In this case, I can see it with the light box without worrying about trying to look through any kind of a stencil. It's pretty darn good. So my glue is purple, dark purple. Sometimes it's a little lighter purple. It means it's getting a little bit older. You get them sometimes and they're already a light purple. So I'm going to see if I turn this down a little bit or off. See if you can see it better what I'm doing for now. So I'm going to put the glue on here, and I'm not going to saturate it. I'm just trying to get enough to keep it on there. Okay. And I did get a kind of bit more than you want, but that's how it is. So I'm going to put this on here, and if it helped, again, you know, you could look at things through here. I could have made this circle bigger and got all of this little green space that's showing, the little jiggy jaggies, and brought the circle out around there and got all of that. In this case, I'm really only going to get up to the black part. So there's my circle. Stay right there, glue stick. And I'm just finger pressing it on. And yes, you can keep a little workstation, and you can have your little iron there, especially you machine girls. Just get that off there. You machine girls, you can crisp it up as much as you want to. So let's see. I know. I need to come over this way a little bit more for you, don't I? A little more over here. Come on, light. So now I'm going to flip it on here just so you can see it better. Now, as sometimes you'll be taught to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, but less is more with circles, but not less than 1/8. And sometimes when you're cutting out a beautiful fabric chintz or something that you're doing your embroidery purse, like we're doing, sometimes something's butted together in that fabric and you're not going to get a seam allowance at all. And that's okay. You have to give up part of one of them. Somewhere something's got to be given up. So I've got plenty here. You can make do, because nobody told you have to use the shape that's there. You get to reshape any of it you want. Same with my patterns. You can reshape any of the leaves or anything that you want to do. So I'm just going to kind of glue one side of this. And I'm kind of doing this standing up. Let's see if I can zoom in a little more for you. I'm standing up when I'm doing this. Should be sitting down, but I'm standing up. So I'm going to start with the beveled side. It's got a little bevel, see, and a point, and a bevel. And I really like this little generic one. They're not expensive at all. And so I'm just going to continue around, just gathering as you would gather any type of a yo-yo, any kind of sew-in circle. Now, if I'm not happy with everything, and I think you can see that, I pat it down with this if it needs extra. Sometimes you need more glue. Sometimes it will not stick no matter what, and you just kind of have to force it or hit it with some heat. So I do about half of it, and then I go back, and I'm going to touch right inside there. And if for some reason it has heat set all the way up into there, put that glue there, it will lift right up. And you can do it with a damp cloth or just, you know, a little bit of your cooties, your spit, your saliva. So I'm just going to walk now around here. And last month I had really long nails and I just ended up with none. And so I have very short nails, and look, you can still do the same stuff, long or short. So I've got my circle. Now, let's say I had a little hump right there. I don't want that hump in there. While it's still tacky, I can turn and take the pointed side, and I can pull it right back down into where I want it, or push it back into where you want it. If your circles are taking too long with this method, meaning they shouldn't be more than, you know, half a minute or so to get them done, when you're really moving and grooving. If that's not working for you, try a different method. So here's my little circle. And you can see why a light box. So I'm off kilter here. I'd still use that. I love it. Unless I really wanted just a smidgen of that. I can also go back and reshape that. I can also take this right back up if it's not completely heat set. If it is, take your damp cloth or sponge and touch it, and then it would come back up again. And you could take it out and try again. So that is that cute little circle. That's those. And so I would do the same thing with one of these big flowers. I said I would show you one that's a little different shape. So let's see. Let's try doing, I'm going to just cut, let's get me a chunk of this little paper that is not a paper. It is a polyester bonded fiber. I'm going to try to pick one of these flowers and do this like so. I see this gorgeous flower, this little guy here, this totally little guy. I'm thinking I would love him, but he's got a lot of little places within that I could do something fun with him. So I go to my light box, and if there's not enough light, make sure you've got all your light off. So there's that. I'm on the right side. I'm facing the right side of the fabric, and I got a pencil, just a regular pencil, and I'm just going to draw. I'm just tracing within, and I'm making it easier. Can you see what I'm doing there? I'm staying within, and I'm taking away anything that makes it, if there was some really jiggy-jaggy shape part to it, I would take it out. So I've become, now my template is smaller, and I may do, if it had petals that went all the way around here, I maybe would put an arrow to make my life easier when that was cut out, but I can tell that this is the original side, and I can tell where it's going to go back down. So let me just give it a little cut and show you this does not have to be perfect. So I'm trying to cut off most of this. I'll leave some of the pencil markings on, but I'm going to take off most of it. Again, I'm standing up. I am not sitting down. I'm actually standing up because I'm looking over the top of my iPad, which is facing me, and I'm not used to doing it like this, but you can stand on your head to cut these things out, I think. And I think in some classes I just about have when we've been in some smaller places. Anyway, so this is the original side. Remember, the original side gets the glue. So I'm going to go turn that off again so you can see better. That's the beautiful side of the fabric, so you don't want to go and put the paper on that. And it's hard to tell. This is now my wrong side of the fabric. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the original side, like that. Glue. I'm going to go back and put this right inside the lines. And I'm going to line it up. Make sure everything is kind of, just drag it and put it where you want it. Oops. Da, 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 da. There he is. So now you can see that if I take that guy, let's turn this off. Don't forget to check out my affiliate link for Caterpillar. If you're looking for the best in the business, that's them. I can't say enough about them. And you can get a better price on it. They've got some great sales going on right now. That's how I was able to snag a second one. So I would cut this out with seam allowance as I needed. And when it's cutting, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to be careful and try to save a little bit of this beautiful fabric. I'm just going to take this out and get it away. And again, this is what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to give up a little bit of seam allowance in order to save this guy that's next to it. Sometimes they're right mixed together and you just have to reshape the petal the best you can. So my seam allowance, if this were mine, I'm going to clip, oops, I'm going to come over here. Did that again. I'm going to snip right up to, and I'm going to come around, and not too much seam allowance. This is definitely like getting beneath 1/8 of an inch, but if you go where there's just no seam allowance, you will work slower, and it's more tedious, and we don't want anything tedious on what we're doing. So here we go. Da, da, da. I hope y'all got to watch the first video that kind of introduced you to some of this. There's not much more that we need to know about for this block. It's pretty simple, but I'd like you to watch where I am snipping. Okay, so snip. I'm not snipping all the way to the paper there. Sometimes I need a little snip. Snip. That one's okay. I need to snip up there to the paper. Maybe a little one there. And another there. There. Da-da-da-da. And that one is good. That one's good. Okay, that doesn't look like it's got too much bad stuff going on. So I don't know if the best part for you to see might be on here, even though it's colored. See if I've got anything else I can put it on. Maybe my pressing sheet will show it better for you on here. There, that's pretty good. This is Teflon pressing sheet, and they're great to protect your iron and protect your applique when you're pressing it down. It's very important to have something like that, because you will either be cleaning your iron, or you'll be replacing your iron, or you'll be really sad about the things you've scorched or melted or just made a boo-boo on. Okay, so I'm just going to start somewhere on here. Let's put some glue on here, and I'm going to get where I think you can see me here. So I'm just using the scoop bevel side. This is acting like a point. However, that's probably going to go beneath a stem or something, so I wouldn't have to turn the point on that, but maybe I will just for fun for you. So you've got to make sure that glue is all the way to the end. And while I'm speaking to you, it's still purple, but if I talk too long, like Chatty Kathy likes to do, I don't know if you saw that, but I made sure it didn't separate. It stayed right together, 2 layers, and turned them. So again, I'm going to just use this. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine something is that easy? Now I'm going to do this. Ooh, I'm going to do this little petal here. So don't get all too much of this stuff. If Mr. Borden would come out with some glue sticks in a skinny thing, like some of the Soline and the different ones that are out there. I love those thin ones, but they're way more expensive. And this is, this ain't going to break the bank. Back to school time, you can buy up a lot of those glue sticks. Buy them in bulk. Don't let the children see you with them, or the teachers. They'll get after you. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm just walking around here, and this is a pretty small little flower I'm doing here. Did you see how I'm just gathering around? Oops, maybe there you go. Keep you in the view, and forgive me if I get out of that. I'll try to correct myself if I get out of your sight line every now and then. I'll get used to it. So there's the little petal and the piece. Now this right here, he would have been turned, but let's say he was a problem child and there's a little smidgen of fabric sticking up. I don't like that. I go back with my glue, touch it. I take this beveled side and I turn it, and I come from the back side, and you can do this into a V set by turning sideways on here, or a rounded set, and just pull it. And as long as you're getting just a smidgen, just a thread count of that fabric, then you're going to have beautiful for sewing by hand or machine. So that's the broderie persilique. And some of the stuff that we did for this block this month. So let's see. I wish I could see if y'all were holding your hands up, if you needed any extra help on anything. The threads, wanted to talk to you about maybe a little bit of the stitching. You can see the black sewing lines in there. Now that's greatly magnified. So you can see Kathy's boo-boos. But Kathy's boo-boos in person at our sight line are, they're enough to live with. I can go back with the ident pen, like I told you. If you really have something, you know, maybe you have a cluster of thread that's darker here, like I do. I'm very likely to go back and do some ink work because no one told me you could do that. And a lot of these award-winning quilts, for years, they've been using paints and inks and dyes, and I didn't know that. I thought everything was just thread. So now I know the secret, and now you know the secret. You weren't already ahead of me. So I could go back and fix anything that looks like it missed a stitch, or sometimes you'll shred a tip, or you didn't catch it. You can just go back, touch it, and make it disappear. Reshape it. You can do whatever you want to do there. See, that looks better already. So I do get up close if it's really going to matter and do things like that. Now the embroidery that I used on here, that's a chain stitch, and I believe I was using a sulky, what did I use? I think on this one, yeah. This one was a little sulky 12 weight that I was sewing with. And it's so convenient because there's just the one strand of that. But most of my embroidery, I use DMC or Presenci or Cosmo, just one of the 6 strands. Boy, there's some fabulous threads out right now that are just making me crazy, and I want them all. You name the brand, I've probably squirreled away some of it, and I'm really having fun going back through. So I did a chain stitch, and I did not chain, so you can't see this, but on the back, you can't see the embroidery because the stabilizer that's within there is like a little pocket inside of there. So it's really easy on your hands. You're just doing that chain stitch right within the layers. So it's just chaining down, and it just goes right through the top fabric. Very, very easy. And then more of your embroidery is hidden. You know, I know you can't see much here, but on some of my blocks there is a lot of embroidery, and they are visible if I have not used this. Doesn't matter because it's quilt. You're going to be making the layers, put them together, the batting and the backing, and it's going to be locked in place anyway, so I don't get hung up on that. But I'm intending to put the little beads here. So seed beads here, or some kind of really cool things. Man, you could go back and really do some crazy bead work. I like to find a fabric like this batik that does some of the work for you, and there are some beautiful chintz fabrics out, or chintz-like fabrics, novelty fabrics with big pineapples. If I'd had it in my stash, I would have probably just cut out a big pineapple, turned the edges on it, and slapped him on here, and then embellished him. So if you can't find fabric you like, and you happen to have a pineapple, or a different fruit, or something else you want to put in there, or a lion, tiger, a bear, whatever, please add all those things on there and make yours special. And I'm just looking around at all my stuff here, wishing we were sitting together somewhere sewing. I don't have anything else I really need to share about that block. So last month's block, there's the up close. I was telling you where I had embroidered. I think you can see it. And just the red thread. I am going to go back and either do some knots or probably some seed beads. I'll probably go back and do some cool embroidery work on these veins. And you can see I did some cray-cray here because I ended up, I felt like some of the stitches were so sparse around here. I went back with my ident pen and I just got crazy. And now I'm not sure I like that it was crazy, but I'm going to live with this. I'm going to make this way more blingy than this anyway. That'll be the last thing people are looking at when I'm finished with it. And that's the fun of it. So I hope you enjoyed getting together today. I'm wishing you a happy Independence Day, happy Canada Day, just happy summertime wherever you are. And join me again and check out my newsletter, my website, and stay in touch. And I'll see you somewhere down the road before it's all said and done. I hope I meet up with you. And I'll see you in August. Bye-bye.